welcome to another episode of Beyond the Black Rims. I'm Mars Girl.
I'm Josh Knight the First.
And this is Season 8, Episode 16.
Or Episode 182 if you're counting.
Thank you, as always, to the Patreon contributors at patreon.com/MarsGirl, who always make sure that we can do shows like this, that this can keep happening. Thank you so much. So glad that we can continue to do this show. How's it going, Josh?
Going alright. We're indoors out of the heat.
Yeah, thankfully.
Yeah.
Because it's hot out there.
It's like 104 heat index today.
Oh, I saw 101. You saw worse than I did then.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I could feel it.
It's nasty out there, guys. I hope you're staying cool and safe, because this is really hurting people out there right now, this heat wave.
I appreciate you saying hi to the laptop. We couldn't quite get it out of the screen this week, but you know what, whatever.
Yeah.
This laptop is a very valuable part of the show.
Very valuable, yes. Glad that everyone's doing okay out there. I hear there's supposed to be a tropical storm kind of going up the East Coast.
Yeah, we're supposed to get a little bit of rain Saturday, but for the most part, it's high and dry.
Or it's kind of scaled back from tropical storm to
a little bit,
something
yeah.
else. So, watch out for that, too, if you're out there on the
Yes.
East Coast. So, we should turn on our AC. Yeah, that AC's been running. We try not to run it during the show, because it'll be way overly distracting.
Yeah,
during
but
the
we
show.
make sure to cool the room first before we start filming. So yeah, we're staying cool.
Yes, definitely. What else is going on this past week?
Well, you made public the video of us trying out that mutant soda.
Yeah, so I mean, apparently that soda's been around the rest of the country. Good old San Antonio.
We always get stuff last. Always.
But it's kind of interesting that people were saying, yeah, we would watch you do more tasting stuff. Because, like, I'm not going to lie, you can go anywhere else to see people taste testing things.
Yeah.
However, if people like seeing stuff like that, I like trying things I've never tried before.
This is true.
Just for the heck of it, just to know what it's like. And yeah, those monster sodas, that was one of the last things that I made public for everybody. It was available for Patreon only at patreon.com/MarsGirl, but now it's available for everybody. And what animal did you last touch when drinking that soda?
Siren.
Oh yeah, Siren. So what, are we supposed to mutate into a cat now?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Cat.
But remember, you poured that soda onto a wasp.
Not on purpose. I didn't know the
Now
wasp
it's going
was in
to
the
be a human wasp.
Yeah, mutant killer wasp.
Mutant
hyped
killer.
up on caffeine and whatever else Monster put in there.
Yeah, that's...
And then I'm still working
very
on
true.
my... I guess I'll... If you haven't figured it out already, I'm working on my Heisei Generations video right now. It's about 2 to 3 times longer than my average episode. But I should have that out by the weekend.
It is a movie and not a TV episode.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that makes sense. You know, we did see Resident Evil Vendetta.
We did. Very graciously from our friends here in town, who got us tickets to go see it on Monday night. This being the 3rd CG movie.
At least the 3rd one, yeah.
This one, like, I've seen all the other ones, because we rented the last 2. This one was way more enjoyable because it was so freaking ridiculous.
It's so dumb. It's the dumbest movie, but I don't know, like, even more so than the live action. For some reason, the live action ones, they think that they're cool, without necessarily trying to take a step back and saying, now, are we actually ridiculous? Do we know that we're ridiculous? Vendetta knows it's ridiculous. So,
and you buy into it. Like,
yeah.
The way Leon is on his custom Ducati, you know, driving down a very empty New York while trying to shoot zombie dogs after him running at like 60 miles an hour with these ridiculous like gun kata poses and then throwing a grenade at him for good measure. Like, it was beautiful.
Oh, it was totally ridiculous, totally over the top, easily the most entertaining of the Resident Evil films. Certainly the CG ones, and I guess you can debate whether or not it's more or less entertaining than the live-action ones. So, yeah. There you have it.
So yes, that was a one-night-only thing, Fathom event. There'll be another screening of it over at Anime Expo next weekend, and then we'll be seeing it on Blu-ray later this year. So definitely we recommend that one, since it was lots of fun.
Yeah, it was a fun film regardless. So, yeah.
And we do have to take another moment of silence this week for all of the nerd community's collective wallets The Steam sale for summer is upon us.
That's true. I've got 30 some odd different games in my wish list that are all on sale.
Yeah,
to some extent right now.
I've got about 39 in my wish list, and at least a good half of them I'm considering buying in for. Like Steins Gate is only $20 right now.
Okay.
So I've been looking into that. Telltale Guardians of the Galaxy's on sale. Pick up Doom from last year. That'd be
nice. There's a few of the Hitman games that I still have on my wish list.
Hitman?
It's an interesting enough franchise. It's not a perfect franchise.
No.
But it's an interesting enough franchise. There's some going for like really dirt cheap. And so I was like, oh, why not? So I've got them on my wish list. We'll see. We'll see if I end up with anything. Probably not, because I don't make that much money. But we'll see.
Well, some of these games are like, what, $2?
Yeah, exactly. $1 something is what some of my stuff is going for. Granted, a whole bunch of stuff I have is for RPG Maker, and it's a bunch of add-on packs to get different tile sets and stuff, and those are going really dirt cheap right now too. So lots of add-ons for games are also cheap. That stupid Steam Link that makes your TV basically link up with your computer so that you can play, like it only works like half the time maybe, apparently. It keeps going on and off sale. Well, it's on sale again on Steam, so yeah. So, stuff is happening.
And one of the One Piece Pirate Warriors is like $10.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so I might pick that up.
We'll see.
Yes.
Yeah. Is there anything else we want to discuss before we actually discuss today?
No, we should probably discuss today.
We should discuss today. For starters, a little bit later on in the show, our first story is going to involve the Venom film.
Yes.
Yes. Tell me just a little bit about it before we move on to the next story.
Right, so the Venom movie had a couple of updates this week, mainly pertaining to where it fits in with this whole Sony universe versus the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we now have confirmation who the villain is going to be for that movie, so we're going to speculate a little bit on that later on in the show.
Alright, second up is, oh man, the Han Solo movie is kind of in this weird limbo. It's happening, but things are getting moved around, and that's scary, and I don't know what to think about it right now, because there's oh, this is bad, oh, this is good, but it's in the middle of everything, so I don't know. So we're going to be talking more about that a little bit later on in the show. And then
the last story for the evening is going to be revolving around this new series, which will be doing a bit of a premiere there at Anime Expo, Tatsunoko Infinity Force, which is a new series out of Tatsunoko celebrating their 55th anniversary, bringing back together 4 classic heroes from that... well, not franchise, from that studio.
Yeah, that studio.
We'll be talking more about the designs, about the characters, and what to expect from it.
Yeah, definitely. But before we get to those stories, I know you've got some follow-ups for me.
Yes.
You've sent some stuff my way.
Yes.
I would like for you to tell me about these things that you've sent my way.
No.
Okay, guys, I guess the show's over.
No, alright, let's go ahead and do it. I normally would bombard you with full-blown Justice League, but we're going to wait on that.
Oh, thank God.
First things first... in relation to something that was happening at the very tail end of our show last week was, of course, the memorial in downtown Los Angeles for the late, great Adam West. So we have this photo to show you guys from that memorial where they very kindly shown his bat symbol on City Hall down there. Of course, a couple of people were there on hand. Lee Merriweather, Burt Ward said some kind words about him. Ralph Gorman, who, of course, had helped petition to get Adam West a star there on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So yeah, it was a very touching place to be. People adorned with all their Batman paraphernalia there, out to show support. It's kind of weird seeing that in my lifetime I could actually see the bat symbol shown somewhere. It was bittersweet, but it gave a lot of people hope and drove them to remember, you know, all the good things that this character could do and that this actor did in that character.
Yeah.
So,
it's a shame you can't really logically shine a bat symbol onto clouds.
Yeah, because it doesn't... If you tried to do it if there was clouds, it would look like it did in the Dark Knight trilogy.
It looks really muddy, yeah.
Yeah, you could kind of say, oh, there's a shape there, but I can't quite make out what it is. But yeah. So yes, it was very kind of the city of LA to do that. Let's go ahead and move on to some other Batman news. Some great Batman news.
Okay.
Batman Mask of the Phantasm has been given the green light for Blu-ray release.
Woo!
Yes, and of
that
course...
makes me really happy. That's my favorite Batman movie of all time, animated or not. Yeah.
That's a very fair distinction. So that'll be coming out later this fall. Definitely going to put some money aside for that one.
For sure,
So that's
yeah.
a must-have for our collection.
Definitely.
So now I will go ahead and hit you with the full-blown Justice League stuff.
What? You did this all out of order.
I was paying my respect to Adam West.
Oh, fine.
Okay. So yes, for full-blown Justice League, we've got reports now that potentially, based off set photos, they may show the actual Hall of Justice.
Oh, okay.
Which doesn't really make sense, at least from this
They
perspective
barely
of what they've shown.
built any justice.
Exactly.
So,
They
that is
barely
a
built
little
any
weird.
justice. They're barely even going to be a team starting out, so they shouldn't already have a headquarters, you know?
that's
Even at
true.
the end of the first Avengers movie, you can tell where they're going with Stark Tower, but they don't get there in the first movie.
That's true.
So, you know, take that as you want with a grain of salt. I don't actually think they're going to build it. It's probably just for some other building. Or the set
Maybe
pieces
so.
that we've been shown. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to Spider-Man news. Really, this isn't incredibly big news. It's just really meant to scare you. So
Okay.
Hot Toys has revealed their take on Tom Holland's likeness as Peter Parker there in Spider-Man Homecoming. Right there, that is not a photo of the actor. That is the 1/6 scale Hot Toy.
I hate this.
Like, it is...
I hate this.
Now, it's even worse if you blow it up, because you can totally see, like, his pores.
Oh yeah, like it totally looks like him, and I say this every single time you show me a Hot Toys. They look amazing, and that's why I'm terrified of them.
Yes.
No, like my God, no! Stop this! Stop this insanity!
They're just gonna...
Stop it!
Just wait for the day until Boston Dynamics gets a hold of one and
No!
makes it move. Then it will be your
No!
biggest nightmare ever.
Why would you suggest this?
Because it will be hilarious to watch your reaction.
Oh my God, no.
So yes, let's go ahead and put that aside. Yes, in other toy news, the Netflix Marvel heroes, of course, Punisher, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, they will be getting their own figures this fall, which will kind of coincide with the release of Defenders, which again will be coming out later on in August. Looking forward to that. And then over on Infinity War, we have this photo from the set of a couple of people having lunch, some familiar faces there. Benedict Cumberbatch, Robert Downey Jr., Mark Ruffalo, and Benedict Wong, all there on the set. No shawarma was seen, but, you know,
I don't care whether or
diversify it.
not they have shawarma. They can
Now,
just have drinks.
We
if
can
they
kind of
want.
see there, it looks that Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange has a new costume, which I kind of get why they would do that. You know, different costumes every movie, they always upgrade the look. But I actually really liked his costume in the last one.
I did too.
It was very true to the aesthetic of the source material.
I do agree, but I expected a costume change. It was absolutely expected.
I mean, I liked the robes.
No, I
They looked
understand.
really comfortable.
I understand.
Okay. So moving on to some
feel
other...
better? Okay.
Yeah, so moving on to some other news, we have confirmation that Deadpool 2 has started filming. So we'll be looking forward to set pics from that. Hopefully pretty soon we'll get to see our first look at Josh Brolin in the role of Cable there on the set. Okay, so moving on to some other movie news. So we had confirmation this week for Godzilla King of the Monsters. We will not have to wait for subsequent sequels. We will get to see Godzilla take on Rodan, Mothra, and King Ghidorah all in this next movie.
See, that's really cool, but at the same time, I'm really concerned.
No, I am concerned. The kaiju fan in me loves the fact that we don't have to wait. But the movie fan in me thinks, no, you can tell a movie each on all of them.
Oh, yeah,
One movie,
easily.
Godzilla versus Mothra. One movie, Godzilla versus Rodan. Have all of them team up to take on King Ghidorah. That makes sense. But putting them all together, again, I hate it when studios want to blow their load too quick.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's no build-up. And the thing about it is, you would think after the last movie, where, you know, Gareth Edwards' Godzilla kind of gave everyone cinematic blue balls, you know, building up to the use of the atomic breath, and then finally there was the payoff. You would think they wouldn't mind teasing this out over several movies and actually milk the franchise.
Right.
Because from here, if he's already fought them once, why would we want to see other movies down the road? Think about it. You've already got 3 villains for Godzilla. And then after that, we got to get King Kong. You go from 3 back down to 1.
Yeah.
That must mean that Kong fight must be insane if they've already got it planned out. I hope they've got it planned out.
I hope so too. I mean, at the same time though, part of me kind of would be okay with lots of monsters in Kong, Part of me would be okay with waiting a little longer for Kong. Thank you for the follow, Emp Cusco. Appreciate it. Wanted to make sure you got the recognition.
Yes.
So, yeah, I feel like we could spend a little more time on each of these monsters. I feel like each of these monsters could also show up in Godzilla vs. King Kong, whatever that's gonna be. We could go a lot of places with it. I'm concerned that they won't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they've got a good plan for this. Otherwise, I think it's too much too soon.
Yeah, I agree. But, you know, they could prove me wrong.
I hope they prove
I hope that they do.
Okay.
And thank you for the host, TB Nero.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so moving on to some other movie news. In regards to Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, Jack Black has gone on record about how the movie actually ties back to the original movie with Robin Williams.
Okay.
So apparently, from what we've been told, this new version of Jumanji has morphed from a board game into a video game that sucks these 4 kids in. Apparently, the world they're sucked into is in fact the same Jumanji from the original movie, and as they're trying to navigate the forest, they actually have help from Alan, from Robin Williams' character from before, because he left different things lying around and clues for himself to help navigate. Because remember, he was stuck in the game for, 30 years? Thereabouts?
Yeah, because he gets in there in the 60s?
Right.
And then he's out there in the 90s. So why is he still in the game?
No, he's not in the game anymore.
But they have help from things that he left around in the... Okay, now
so that's
I
the
understand.
tie back.
I understand.
That's fine. So much as
I guess so. I don't understand how a game connects to this really old mystical board game, though. That makes no sense to me.
Maybe they'll explain it, maybe they won't. You don't have to
They'll
think too hard
explain
about
it, and I won't like it.
Don't think too hard about it. This is
Don't
starring
tell me
Dwayne
not to
Johnson.
think Please.
You know that's a good argument.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, so moving on to some other news. We did mention Anime Expo coming up next week. There will be a panel for this new FLCL, or Furikuri, Part 2 and Part 3 that they're going to have there. Hopefully they'll be revealing some more details about the updated anime, some more footage, teaser, something. So I do feel very jealous of you people going out there to Anime Expo. Please let us know what they show.
Yes, please.
Yes.
I'm sure it'll hit the internet very quickly.
Alright, and let's move over to some Tokusatsu news. Over with Shout Factory, their release of Mega Ranger will continue. Unfortunately, the date has been pushed back. It was originally going to be released in mid-August. Now it has been pushed back to October. So October is looking very good for stateside Toku fans, which goes into our next thing. Of course, we talked to you guys before about Garo being released over here legally on Blu-ray. Well, right now, Right Stuff, if you go to their website, has the pre-order up for $26.
Yes, very, very good. It's granted, it's just part 1 of the series.
Yes.
So that's episodes 1 through 13. And, I mean, I think that's fair, considering apparently the full retail price is like $40. So, getting it as a pre-order right now would be the smart move.
Yeah, I'm buying that.
Do it as a
I
pre-order.
get paid in the morning, I'm buying that first thing.
Yeah.
Like, that is here. That's not even a question.
For real, yeah.
Yes, so let's go ahead and move on to last bit of news here. For anybody looking forward to Japan World Heroes, they have just released their hotel blocks. Where did we go?
Oh, that was not the right button.
We disappeared for a second. Yes, so if you're looking to head out to Pasadena this summer in late August, go ahead and get in on those prices right now. I believe it's 175. 170 or 175?
It was. I didn't finish speaking.
Okay.
It was 175.
175. Yes. So it's not bad. 175 a night. Get some friends with you. Go enjoy some Tokusatsu.
Yes.
Have fun. We'll be there.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a plan.
No, I'll drag us kicking and screaming.
Okay, cool.
It's gonna happen.
All right.
All right.
You didn't mention this thing!
Oh, yeah, and the last bit of news that we've got here is, of course, the Legacy Edition of the Power Rangers Ninjetti coin set, which works with the Legacy Morpher that they have already released for the Power Rangers, or the movie editions, is now going to be available. Those will fit in very nicely with the movie Morphers.
Oh, good.
Since they've got the individual coins there. Or if you've got your classic Morpher, whatever. It's nice.
Okay.
I would put it on my wall.
Yeah, sure. Instead of using it the way it's meant to be used. In a belt. In a buckler.
In a buckler.
Okay, bye.
I'll take it out sometimes. Okay, but that's all of our follow-ups for the evening. Let's go ahead and get into our first story with Venom.
So, I'm showing here a picture of Carnage.
Which makes sense.
Because, Venom has had some updates to what the story is going to entail,
Yes.
what the villains... Now,
Specifically...
People are mentioning, like, well, Venom's already a villain, and you're gonna give him a villain? Now, granted, he can be kind of an anti-hero at times.
He's very much been billed as an anti-hero, and of course the reason for Carnage being here on screen, Carnage has been picked as the villain for the movie. The other part of this that we'll go ahead and talk about briefly is the fact that after some comments that were made just this past week about the movie, going over Sony's partnership with Marvel on this, this Venom movie has some continuity with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they're still trying to flesh out what exactly that means.
Yeah, because they were kind of bouncing this idea back and forth that it is canon, it isn't canon with the current, just about to run Spider-Man franchise. Apparently they do run concurrently in the same universe.
Yes, and this will also be true of the Silver and Black movie featuring Black Cat and Silver Sable. So the idea is that we're going to have two different studios that it's like joint custody of a kid. You know, we get visitation rights on the weekends. This is our weekend, and that's what we're going to be doing. So
my understanding is that they're still trying to battle back and forth over whether or not they can get Tom Holland.
Right.
Holland for
the idea
Spider-Man.
is that they can eventually get Tom Holland, since contractually he's only obligated beyond what he's already doing right now with Infinity War for a Spider-Man 2 and a Spider-Man 3 over with Marvel. Beyond that, he's freed up. Now, since there's kind of the shared partnership there, they're trying to decide how exactly they're going to incorporate him into the Sony movies.
Right. Well, I'm super concerned that because this is bouncing between studios, who's the continuity director? Because there's just no way that continuity is going to remain accurate between two totally separate studios that are trying to say, we've got the same continuity and the same storyline. It's going to be totally the same universe. I totally value that attempt, but at the same time, I don't think you're going to pull it off accurately. Can you even say certain names? Can you make certain references to certain characters?
Exactly. These are the problems that are going to come up. And like some people are bringing up here in the chat, yes, this also applies to other characters that Sony still has the rights to, much like Mysterio and Kraven the Hunter. Now, I've been wanting Mysterio to show up ever since the Tobey Maguire movies, because there was rumor back then that Sam Raimi was setting it up to where, you know how Bruce Campbell had a cameo each Spider-Man movie?
Yeah.
That he would eventually be revealed as Mysterio. And he's just been dicking with Peter Parker this whole time, which I would have loved, because he would have been a really good Mysterio. That having been said, like, the character of Kraven or Quentin Beck, you know, Mysterio's alter ego, they're people I do want to see on the screen.
Sure.
They do usually end up getting included in most Spider-Man video games. People know these characters, they're familiar, they would become more familiar, they're putting them on the screen. But again, there's the problem of continuity, because if you remember a couple of months back, Marvel had talked about the plans that they had for Spider-Man on their end.
Right.
And they've talked about how, well, we want to put villains on screen that you haven't had a chance to see already. So we're done with Doc Ock, we're done with Green Goblin, and that made sense.
I'm kind of glad for that, honestly.
Yeah.
Although in some cases, I wish that Green Goblin was handled slightly differently. Doc Ock, I was
actually okay with Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. It was a decent Doc Ock. Probably, arguably, the best villain out of that series of movies.
Sandman was very disappointing and not.
He looks like Sandman.
See, that's the thing. Looking like Sandman doesn't make him Sandman.
No, yeah. And then, of course, for the Amazing Spider-Man movies, which, of course, Sony was handling as well, which makes me worried about this. I really liked the first one, and opinions on the second one differ wildly. Some people thought it was really good, some people thought it was okay, I was one of those, and some people absolutely hated it. So as such, with a not quite proven track record, I can only imagine what they're going to be doing when they have to share him with Marvel.
Yeah.
Much the same with Venom. We know that they're trying to share Spider-Man, but will we eventually see Eddie Brock over in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Will we see Tom Hardy bring that character over?
Right.
Because we think about it this way. Considering that we're starting to have to share stuff, the version of Venom that is possessing Flash Thompson, it's not going to be that version because Flash Thompson is already here in Spider-Man Homecoming. Completely different actor. So as far as continuity goes, if you want to try and tell us that Tom Hardy's playing a different version of Flash Thompson, that's going to be weird.
Of course.
Because Spider-Man's already going to be dealing with that over here in Homecoming. That's a completely different actor, completely different ethnicity. So I don't think that's going to be where they're going. I think that solidifies that we're looking at Eddie Brock.
That makes a little bit of sense. Not to mention, I think that's almost the only direction you could go, because that's the only Venom that we've been introduced to in any Spider-Man movie up until this point. So, you made a complaint before we started the show in regards to, man, now you gotta start reintroducing characters if we're going to have to tell an origin story. Do you think it's possible that they would rely on a movie that's so old now, and we've rebooted Spider-Man a couple times since, in order to have people rely on that information of, oh, we know who Venom is because this old Spider-Man movie.
I don't think they'll try and tie back at all to the Sam Raimi movies.
Okay.
That's not even a question in my mind. But yes, they do have to kind of reintroduce Eddie Brock to a new audience. Much the same, they're going to have to introduce Cletus Cassidy, Carnage. Now, the thing about that is, for those of you familiar with the separation anxiety storyline there from back in the 90s that introduced Carnage, Carnage is a serial killer.
Yeah.
He's he's a fan favorite because he's crazy. He's psychotic. As such, I don't think Sony will shy away from that aspect of the character. I think they're actually really looking forward to doing that. But is it going to be a good movie, or is it just going to be all spectacle and no substance? That's what I'm worried about. Because if I thought I could trust you with a movie, then we wouldn't even hardly be talking about this. This would just be a follow-up.
Right, that's true.
But the thing of it is, like, we look at Deadpool. Deadpool we were lucky to get as close to what it was in the first movie, which gives us hope for the second one. But with this one, you're having to start all over again after Amazing Spider-Man 2 didn't do very well.
Yeah.
You know, you had to hand over Spidey so you could make some money, Sony, which was the smart decision. Everybody thanks you for that. But now you're still trying to be like, hey, you know that money I fronted? Hey, can I get some of that back? Yeah, just give me back. Give me a loan. I promise I'll return it. Just give me a loan. And that's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah.
Where you want to trust them. It's like, well, you made one good business decision compared to, like, the 5 bad ones you made. Like, I don't know.
Well, as it is, Marvel still does not have 100% ownership over Spider-Man again yet, right? So it's still Sony, which makes sense. Obviously, they're making a Venom film. So does Sony not have every right to ask for bits and pieces back?
I don't know. Now, yeah, Rain, Rain, the one time I'll call you Rain. Yeah, Cletus Cassidy is primarily a redhead. I don't think it'll be too much of a problem for them to cast somebody who's not a redhead, just give him a wig, you know, color it, that doesn't even matter. Offhand, I can't think of a good, a really good Cletus Cassidy. Well, actually, I take it back. Really, if he hadn't already been Rorschach, Jackie Earle Haley probably would have made a really good Cletus Cassidy, because he can do that level of intensity. Otherwise, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. And as such, you wonder, like, will we eventually see much the same Silver Sable and Black Cat over in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Right.
Now, the idea here that we're wondering about is the fact that over on the Marvel Cinematic Universe portion, they say that for Spider-Man 2 and for Spider-Man 3, they're going to do the same thing that they're doing with Homecoming, in that it's not going to be a solo Spider-Man movie.
Right.
He'll be paired up with another Avenger, which I kind of dig, and I kind of don't.
Well, why is this Spider-Man not allowed to have his own movie by himself? Why is that?
You see, at this point, like, by the time you get to Spider-Man 3, I think he'll have proven himself already. You don't need to cross-pollinate that much. I get it for the first one, because, you know, he's home. That's why you call it Homecoming. That's why you're tying this all together.
Show that it really is within the same universe.
But we don't need, like, just some cameos. You know, let him talk to Steve Rogers for a little bit. You know, that's fine. Let him hang out with Ant-Man for a little bit. That's fine. But we don't need them for the whole movie. I'm assuming that we're going to get some taste of how that's going to feel with Homecoming, with the inclusion of Tony Stark there.
Sure.
But I'm still worried about everything else. I want to believe in it, because as a fan, I do want to see these characters. I do want to watch that movie, and I'll probably watch it anyway, so I can make a comparison. But I can only have so many concerns and not voice them.
Oh, yeah, I hear you. And I don't really know what to think entirely yet. I need more time. I need more information. I need some photos.
Yes.
And I need a trailer. Otherwise, I can't judge all that much yet.
I'll agree with you there. Aaron Paul actually probably would make a really good Cletus Cassidy. I'll give you that one.
Again, that's the game I can't play of who would be good in this role. I am not good at that game. I don't play that game.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I play enough of that game for both of us.
Thank you.
All right.
Is that gonna be it?
Yeah, it's gonna be it.
Okay.
So yeah, we're leaving a lot of time for this next one because there's a lot to talk about with the Han Solo movie and directing.
So here's Han Solo.
And here's Richie Cunningham.
Yeah, well...
He was.
You mean Ron Howard.
Ron Howard.
You mean Ron Howard.
Okay, so as far as this goes, so earlier this week we were
A lot of stuff went down.
A lot of stuff went down. Apparently stuff had been building up for a couple of weeks. And
they're already mid-filming.
More than mid-filming. They had 3 weeks left.
Oh my god.
3 weeks left.
Oh, that's
and
really horrifying.
apparently after break was taken so that Lucasfilm could look over the footage, it was discovered that the movie that was being shot was not what they had originally intended. So Kathleen Kennedy had a meeting with the directors Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who of course worked on the Lego movie, and they are no longer on the movie anymore.
I had some differing reports coming in saying they walked. The story I'm looking at right now from Hollywood Reporter says that they were let go. So the creative differences must have been really strong, especially this late into the filming game. That's horrifying.
The statement that I'm reading here off StarWars.com states, Phil Lord and Chris Miller are talented filmmakers who have assembled an incredible cast and crew, but it's become clear that we've had different creative visions on this film, and we've decided to part ways. That's legalese up the butt. That's legal
scary. This is very scary.
Which is basically like, you know something went down.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't pretty. Like, we've decided to part ways. I mean, like, oh, no, there was fighting. Somebody yelled, there was throwing. I can only imagine how bad it was. There was screaming in the background.
The question is, was it actually creative differences, or was it somebody wanted something really specific, and it was a personal thing, and they're like, we can't work with you.
That quote was from Kathleen Kennedy, who, of course, is president of Lucasfilm.
Right.
As far as Lord and Miller concerned, their quote on this is, unfortunately, our vision and process weren't aligned with our partners on this project. We normally aren't fans of the phrase creative differences, but for once, this cliche is true. We are really proud of the amazing and world-class work of our cast and crew. So they're taking the high road on this. Nobody's being dragged through the mud, but clearly there was a problem. Now, from a lot of other websites, because we've been looking this up all day trying to figure out what exactly happened, the prevalent story that keeps popping up on different websites is apparently, and I don't think this is too far of a jump in logic, the movie that they were making was too funny.
Oh no. Like, that would be a problem. Thank you, MJ, from Fairies and Dodger. I just want to make sure that I said thank you to what I'm seeing is the funding through YouTube. I know that doesn't really come up and show up on screen, but thank you. Want to make sure that was mentioned.
Yes.
So, we're now looking at a new director.
Yes, so a couple of names are being thrown around. Of course, at the top of the list was Ron Howard. Two other names being thrown around were Lawrence Kasdan, who of course had worked on the movie before, very familiar with the franchise Empire Strikes Back and whatnot, and director Joe Johnston, who got his start there doing work for the original Star Wars trilogy. So people who are very attached almost to the hip with the original start of this franchise were being considered, but they went with the more proven Ron Howard.
Is Ron Howard not gonna go funny? My question is Han Solo not a character who's allowed to be a little funny? Because I feel like he could be.
There's a difference between his charm and smarm versus flat-out comedy. And the story that I'm hearing is that they were making it too much of a comedy where they weren't balancing out That versus the mythos of what Han Solo is supposed to be.
I guess I get that. Okay.
So the idea is, Ron Howard, who I believe he was the director for Willow, so that kind of ties back there
To Lucasfilm.
to Lucasfilm. Ron Howard taking over now, the question comes up, like we've heard about different times in other circumstances. You think of Ant-Man, of course. We had Edgar Wright attached for so long. That's why a lot of people were hyped for it. And then, of course, Edgar leaves right before filming. And then we have to get a replacement director there. The question is, how much is the tone of the movie going to change now?
Right.
Because they had 3 weeks of filming left, and they had 5 weeks of reshoots planned for whatever they need to do with like pickup scenes and things like that. How much of that are they going to have to use to fix whatever they've already shot?
He did Backlash or Backdraft, right?
Ron Howard?
Ron Howard? Didn't Ron Howard do Backdraft?
Didn't he?
Didn't he? Because now I'm picturing that Han Solo is gonna be all over dramatic like Backdraft.
Well, he did. He did Apollo 13.
Yeah, as dramatic like Apollo 13. Apollo 13 had some humor moments in it.
Yeah.
So,
he did Inferno. The Tom Hanks, Robert Langdon movie.
Yes.
So I like a lot of Ron Howard's movies. I trust him as a director. It's just I've never seen him direct something like this in a very long time.
Right.
Willow would be the only one I can think of off the top of my head. I'm sure there's a reason they brought him in over the 2 guys who have actually worked on Star Wars.
Right.
I can only hope that was the right decision.
Yeah, so this is what is really eating me. It's not like I dislike Ron Howard. I like a lot of his films. However, the timing of it is just really bad. That is the only concern that I have. And they have to still do reshoots, right? Like, they scheduled in some reshoots.
Yeah.
So, at this point, more than half of the movie is made. Is there going to be this noticeable kind of butting heads creatively on screen between what a few different directors were trying to accomplish?
Well, because, I have to bring up Ant-Man. I think it's very apparent when you watch that movie what parts were the studio trying to fix whatever was there after the fact, and stuff that was left over from Edgar Wright's script. Because I think really a lot of the funnier moments, those are Edgar Wright's. The rest was what Marvel wanted to put out.
Right.
So with this, I'm reading here that Ron will go ahead and start his directing duties when they start up filming again on July 10th. So they've got about, give or take, about 2.5 weeks to take a break. As I understand, they're going to review the footage, which is kind of what sparked this. They're going to review the footage, see what they can...
salvage?
I hate to use the term salvage, but that's what it's looking like here. What they can salvage, and then figure out, okay, what do we need to reshoot, what do we need to rewrite, and what do we have to build from scratch?
Right. I have to imagine that in these next 2 weeks, Ron Howard is not taking a break. He is studying as much as he possibly can to get up to speed so they can make the hell out of this movie.
Right, because at that point, they've got a deadline that they need to meet. And the thing about it is, I imagine they, over at Lucasfilm, have some sort of a buffer built in for stuff like this just in case it happens. Because when you've got that much writing, a franchise this large, you don't take chances.
Right.
Which is why you can see here, we found out on... When was this? Tuesday, that we lost Miller and Lord, and then just 2 days later, Ron Howard's already in. So either
that was a fast move.
So you wonder, either one, just like the buyout from Disney and Lucasfilm, was it something that was already in the works, or were they just that on it?
Yeah.
I can't really say either way. I can imagine that they were having talks for the last week or so, looking over this footage, and I hate to have been the guy who was looking over stuff. Because they must have, a quality control guy who had to call somebody up, can I get Miss Kennedy? Yeah, you need to get over here. Oh. No, you need to see this. And then, you look over and it's like, my God, it's so funny. Calling the executives, we gotta figure something out. And that's the thing about it, I imagine, there's nothing wrong with humor in Star Wars, not at all. But I can imagine, if it was too funny, it might not feel like Star Wars.
There were a lot of people who I think had a complaint in Episode 7 that they thought that 7 was too funny. That they were trying to
I didn't think 7 was hardly funnier than any other Star Wars movie up to that point.
They were arguing that it was really self-referential humor all over the place, and I can kind of see moments where it was like really trying to be this really fast and quippy kind of, and that wasn't necessarily the kind of writing we had previously seen in prior Star Wars films. Granted, I think George Lucas was trying sometimes in some of the prequels, and the prequels did not land it very well.
I argue this much: in the original trilogy, there are some moments of levity. In Force Awakens, there was humor, but in neither one of those, the 4 through 6 or 7, nobody stepped in poop in those.
You're absolutely right, but episode 1, poop jokes.
Poop jokes,
Poop
yeah.
jokes.
So here I'm wondering, like, if there was too much of that, because, people complained that, mind you, we don't have that same opinion, with episode 7, or not even episode 7, with Rogue One, that it didn't feel like a Star Wars movie because it was too serious. It was too
that's true.
epic and cinematic looking, which we absolutely enjoyed.
Yeah.
So it's possible to bring something new to the franchise, but I think part of the reason that Force Awakens worked, at least as far as we're concerned, is the fact that it was able to do that, come from what felt like a different area, but it stayed true to where it was from. If they at Lucasfilm didn't feel like that's what was going on with Miller and Lord's direction, then I can understand why they didn't want them working on it. So as such, yeah, that's a lot of ground that Ron Howard's going to have to cover. He's going to have to look over stuff. He's going to see about trying on Chewbacca for,
right. That's
all these
very
different
true.
things. I know some people were making the joke, a community reference, that Donald Glover showed up to set on Tuesday carrying pizza, and then he sees everybody running around on fire in front of him. I don't think it was anything...
Making reference to what?
To Community.
To Community?
Which makes sense, but I hope it wasn't anything that bad. They're already this far in, so really we're going to find out after the fact, once we're actually doing it, how much changed. Because now we're going to be looking at this movie once it actually comes out with an even closer eye, like how much of this was the original script and who's actually going to get credit on this.
Yeah, now hopefully that doesn't detract from it just being an enjoyable film.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully, even if it's noticeable where one director ended and another began, I can just be like, they went well enough together and I enjoyed it. That's cool.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
But yeah, this is some shake-up. This is a year for directors stepping down and other people having to step up real fast.
Yeah.
So hopefully they're still telling a good movie. Hopefully we as fans will be satisfied with the product we get. But this was just a lot to take in just a little over 72 hours.
Yes.
Yes.
I think that's enough.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Okay.
That's pretty much all of it.
Let's move on to our last story then. So this is a very small picture. This is an older picture for Infini-T Force.
Yes.
The Tatsunoko shoving all their characters together into one series. CG animated anime. There is a trailer that is out there. It's a slightly older trailer.
It's what they've got right now. It's only about maybe a minute and a couple of seconds. But the cool thing about this is Infini-T Force is Tatsunoko celebrating their 55th anniversary as an animation studio, having been responsible for all of these different products that they put out over the years. Of course, Gatchaman, Kashurn, Hurricane Polymar, and Tekkamon. Now, most of these characters, some people over here might be a little bit more familiar with them. If you remember the game from a couple of years ago, Tatsunoko versus Capcom.
Yes.
Where we had a chance to play as these characters against all your different Street Fighter characters and things like that.
A bunch of Capcom. Yeah. Now, granted, the version we got in North America had a very slightly different roster than the Japanese version.
Yes.
That and the Americans were like, I don't know who Polymar is. I would say most fighting game enthusiasts had no idea who these Tatsunoko characters were.
I would argue most fighting game enthusiasts over here didn't give two craps about the game.
They didn't care about the Yatterman characters, I promise you. They really didn't. But there were some people who thought, no, this is a pretty cool fighting game, and they got a little bit interested in the Tatsunoko characters, but still, we have had access to very few of these characters over the past several decades. Now, we have had access to Gatchaman in several different forms.
You know, as Gatchaman, as G-Force, as Battle of the Planets. So we've seen it several times over. So that was probably the character most people recognize. Like, oh, hey, that's Ken. I know that guy.
We've seen a little bit of Tekkamon here and there.
Not nearly as much as the other.
You're right, not nearly as much. I don't think... did Polymar ever get localized over here?
I don't think Polymar ever got localized. Now, over in Japan, they, of course, just had their live-action Polymar movie, which looks really cool, and I think that one's a Koichi Sakamoto joint, so that one's going to be really action-oriented.
Yes. We have gotten a few different versions of Cashern.
Specifically, Cashern Sins, which was Funimation. Funimation owns the rights to that one.
And Tatsunoko versus Capcom, because the thing was, we never thought we were ever going to get Tatsunoko versus Capcom over here, because all of these different characters have been licensed by 80 bajillion different companies here in North America.
And in a lot of cases like that, it's a licensing nightmare.
So what they had to do in Tatsunoko versus Capcom is they had to call him Kashan instead of Cashern, in order to kind of skirt copyright. It kind of looks like they're doing that again here from what I'm seeing on Anime News Network. They're calling him Kashan instead of Cashern.
Well, yeah, because Cashern, that spelling, that's owned by Funimation.
Yeah. So I'm really curious about... I mean, clearly, we're getting... some of this debuting at AX, was that correct?
Yes, now specifically for AX, it's really cool. They're going to have a panel for this, and they're also going to be issuing out, or selling I should say, a limited edition manga that they're going to have in limited print there at the convention. Now this manga does line up with the release of the anime later on this year in October, but it will not follow the exact same storyline.
Right.
So, you know, like a lot of manga adaptations, that's going to go in one direction and then the anime is going to go in a completely different direction.
Well, I'm just interested in the fact that it's showing up at AX because that leads me to believe that they're looking to license it, and I'm wondering now if getting around all this copyright red tape, all this licensing red tape, has become any easier since Tatsunoko vs. Capcom last came out.
Well, I can imagine that it will. Now, the screening's going to happen there on July 1st, so next Saturday. The thing about it is... yeah, you're absolutely right. It does look like if they're going to bring this over to AX, like, again, most people aren't as familiar with these characters, so if you're going to be debuting it at one of, if not the largest anime convention here in North America...
I mean, that makes sense.
...that you want to sell it to people, that you want people to watch it. Now, I don't think it's too far of a stretch that you would have a company like, say, Crunchyroll, like they've been doing so much lately, partner up to go ahead and stream this once it debuts, because I imagine they're going to be gauging the response from the audience when they actually show it.
Yeah.
I think it would be really cool. It's done with this more modern CG sort of animation.
Kind of the direction that Berserk is going.
It doesn't look as bad as Berserk.
It doesn't look as bad as Berserk.
It's about the same as the Blame movie, which just got released on Netflix. Good movie, watch that. It looks about the same as Blame, except a little bit more easy on the motion. Blame felt like there was a lot of frames missing in between things, which makes sense for that aesthetic if you've read the manga.
Well, and they do that on purpose in a lot of different CG animated stuff because they want to make it look like anime, which is limited frames. Because if you were just rendering it straight without a reduction in frame rate, then it would just look like a CG movie and it wouldn't look like anime.
True, yes. But if you remove too many frames, like you've seen these clips and you bring up Berserk of Guts looking like he's in South Park, you know, just so badly moving across the screen.
Granted, that's how you animate a lot of characters walking in 2D animation to begin with. You just kind of bounce them up and down and we like accept that, like that's acceptable, but it's so noticeable in 3D CG animated stuff.
Then perhaps it's actually kind of closer to the Cyborg 009 anime that they just recently put on Netflix.
That's true. I would agree with that, actually.
And that didn't look bad. It was just, the story was okay. But here, this looks a lot more fluid, keeping to all of these characters who are very action-oriented, you know, fast movements, strong characters. My only hope, though, and this goes back to Tatsunoko versus Capcom, is that if they do well with these characters, will they extend out the series? Will there be a season 2? Will they bring in other Tatsunoko characters that audiences might want to get to know,
Looking for more Yatterman.
Well, I was thinking specifically Karas.
Karas,
has to be one of my favorite Tatsunoko properties next to Casher and Gatchaman.
Now, most recently here on Anime News Network, it's been revealed that they've...
just yesterday.
Yeah, they've started introducing new characters that I do not believe showed up in previous Tatsunoko productions.
No, these are original to the anime.
So we've got this girl named Ai Kayano.
No, that's the actress.
That's the actress who's playing Emi Kaido, who's a high school girl living in Shibuya, isn't interested in anything really, she's always got a cold attitude, she holds people at bay.
Now, from what I understand, she's the main female character, the one who wishes to bring in these other heroes.
There's voice actor Atsushi Ono playing this character named Z. It's possible, I bet he's going to be pronounced Zed, because
the
Japanese do not pronounce it Z. They pronounce it like a British Zed, or Zet.
Whatever.
He's just a mysterious dude. His nature is completely unknown. That is literally all we have.
He's the mystery man. He's probably the bad guy.
He may or may not be the bad guy. Voice actor Hiroki Yatsumoto is playing Raja Khan. I wish I could show you guys this image here because I don't even hardly know what I'm looking at.
It's a giant monster.
It's big and it's green and it's got like flowy robes. He's about 10 feet tall. And he's ugly, is what the description says.
Yeah.
He doesn't look ugly to me. He just looks green. He looks
Yes.
very, very green. We've got voice actor Daisuke Hirakawa. He's playing a character named Damien.
I would say Damien.
Damien Gray.
Not Dorian Gray, Damien Gray.
Apparently he has flashy Visual K fashion, which is interesting because I thought Visual K was dead. Apparently not.
I was under that impression as well.
Speaks in a mix of foreign languages, so he thinks he's all hot stuff and smart, I guess.
I think it'll be very funny because if you remember the last couple of years, whenever in any anime that we've seen recently, if a character's trying to speak any language other than Japanese, it just comes out hilarious.
Oh, often, yes.
What's your name?
Yeah. Then finally we've got voice actress Kana Hanazawa playing the character Belle Lin. Who's really powerful in combat, impossible to gauge strength, and she's beautiful. That is a character description.
I mean, she looks kind of cool. She looks like she's got like little fins on her, like she can fly.
I bet she
like
can
a
fly.
jet.
I would highly count on her being able to fly. So those are character descriptions of all the new characters being introduced in this series. These all, again, just came out just yesterday. So we can look forward to, like one more weekend away, the world will know a little bit more about the series.
Yes. Now, the thing about it is, we're hoping that they'll do the smart thing like what we hope for with, say, San Diego Comic-Con, where if something is displayed there, we'll get to see it not too long after on the internet.
Right.
Because at this point, what's the point in keeping the rest of the world waiting?
Mm-hmm.
Give people what they want, let them see it, give it about 5 minutes, and then release it.
Yes.
Because there is no point in hiding anything, the internet will find out. If you guys don't stream it, somebody in that room's going to have a cell phone.
They're going to film it.
They're going to film it, and we're going to see this thing one way or another. So you might as well just give it to us.
Right.
Save yourself a headache, and let everybody hopefully want to buy into your product.
Yeah, I really hope more people get interested in the Tatsunoko, not franchise like you said, but studio.
Yes.
And get interested in their characters, because even Speed Racer was Tatsunoko.
Yes, very true.
So, consider that. Consider a whole bunch of characters in that same sort of animation and character design style, and if they were to add Speed, I totally can't remember what his name in Japanese originally was.
He's Speed Racer, no matter what.
Yeah, if they were to continue on with more series and start adding in, like you suggested, Karas and
Yatterman.
Speed and Yatterman, I think that would be totally way fun. Really, really fun.
And the thing I've got to compliment this on, and I'll try and wrap it up here, is the fact that when you look at the designs for the characters, you can totally tell it's love for the 70s design aesthetic, because they don't look hardly any different. They're just kind of given the New 52 treatment, where it's the same costume, we just put a lot of lines on there.
We just detailed it up. That's it.
Well, it's not even hardly detailed. They just added lines.
Yeah, now you can see, like, muscle structure and stuff.
I don't even know about muscle structure. Like, look.
Yes, you can see the six-pack on G1's six-pack.
I don't think that's a six-pack. I just think that's his costume.
No, these are...
Now, Koshern, I'll argue that's a six-pack.
That's way more...
Not Koshern, Polymar.
And delts, and quads, and glutes, and they're all there.
They're all there. All the muscles.
All of them are there. Alright, we should stop this.
Yes.
This needs to stop.
So yes, next weekend, if you're out there at Anime Expo, definitely try to either pick up the manga or check out the panel. They'll have the director there and a preview of the show, so have that to look forward to.
Yeah, I'm done with that now. And I guess that means we're mostly done with the main core part of the show.
Yes.
Yes. So thank you for hanging out with us for this past hour, everyone who's here live with us. If you are not here live with us, then I wish that you would come on down here on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Central so that you can hang out with these folks and get in on the next half an hour where we're going to be doing live Q&A time with these folks here, because otherwise you don't get to spend that time with us like I would like to be able to spend the time with you. So please come down here, because that would make everybody really happy.
Yes, and of course during the week you can always talk to us over on social media. On Twitter, I'm at JoshKnight1st.
And I'm at MarsGirl.
And that having been said, that's been tonight's episode of Beyond the Black Rims. We'll see you guys again next week.
Thank you, everybody. But
don't actually go anywhere.
there.
We're still